All right, what's going on, everybody? I hope this video finds you all well. Hope everybody's having a good holiday season or had a good holiday season. This video right here is going to be a request that I've gotten by quite a few people and things that I've seen inside of lessons, and this is how do we minimize or start to fix early releasing the golf club. Early releasing causing thin shots, causing higher lofted shots, causing the ball to go shorter than what we would like. How are we going to minimize it? And what I'm going to also do is we're going to do cause and effect of really what do we need to diagnose to fix it right there. So before we get into that, if you haven't watched that last video that I did, please click on that link down below. I've also got a free crash course, Understanding Impact. Would love to have you check that out. Why don't we go ahead? Let's get right into it. So if we look at reasons why people early release, because one of the things that I would say to everybody, and this was myself included, this was a big issue that I had. I've always hit the golf ball crazy high, and I would try to replicate or produce shaft lean all the time, and I could never actually do it. So again, every action is going to have a reaction. So a lot of times for the player, releasing the golf club early is actually what we would see or what we would call our reaction. So when I go into some of the causes, what causes us to early release? Well, I can tell you the number one cause that I would say I see out of players who struggle with releasing the golf club early is being too low to the ground with their chest and being too far away from it. And I know that sounds crazy, okay? So one, this makes it very difficult to finish our turn. So as we start to finish our turn and stand up, now if we have any sort of forward movement right here and the chest starts to work away from the golf ball, I don't have the ability to maintain or keep angle in, and I definitely don't have the ability to get the arms moving at a higher rate than what the hands are moving. So the first thing that I would say for most of us, what we actually have to fix is we've actually got to get closer to the golf ball right here. So for me, one of the things I do with a lot of players that I coach, I take a measurement and I would check to see how far away from the golf ball are you. If we look at tour average with a 7-iron, I believe it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 18 inches. Now again, that's an average, but I would say most people that I have measured that actually struggle with this, some of them are as far as 24 inches, 2 feet away from the golf ball right in here, and they're trying to keep this angle in. It's not that you wouldn't be able to keep this angle in, but from here we're not going to be able to move the body. So I could stand in here and I could keep my angle in, but I'm not going to be able to continue moving right there. So what I would say the first thing that we need to do is we've actually got to get the player closer to the golf ball. Get a yardstick, get a measuring tape, see how far you actually are, and see where you would relate to what tour average is. This is one tour average stat. I'm not a huge fan of tour averages, but this is one stat that I would say is very meaningful to players because this is a static place. This isn't somebody swinging the golf club 125 miles an hour and saying we need to relate to that. We can all relate to a distance away from the golf ball. And not everybody has to be 18 inches. You can be closer. You can be a little bit further away. But if we start to get further and further away from the golf ball, we're probably going to want to move into it, and we're probably going to want to stand up right there. So the next thing that I would say causes for early release, I see a lot of stuff where people try and create too much speed from their right side. And what I mean by that is we get this right side firing to where we get pressure up on the toes early. We move the knee forward. As the knee starts to move forward, the hip starts to move forward and it extends early. Well, that reaction right there is going to get the spine standing up. Again, the more we get the chest moving up and away from the golf ball, the more we are going to have to throw. Again, have to throw angles at it, because if we didn't throw angles at it from here, we would never actually get to the golf ball. So this is where we're going to design kind of a cool drill for you, ways that we could minimize the right leg coming forward, and also another way that we could actually start to minimize some of the angle that we might want to maintain, but we're going to maintain this angle without physically trying to hold the club. We're going to put something in our way that is going to trigger the brain not to throw it early, and it'll give us the ability to move the arms quicker. And we're also going to put the trail leg in a position to where it actually cannot move forward here. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to create an obstacle here for us. So if we went right in here, what I would do is I would measure 1, 2, 3 club heads. So if I did this from here face on so you could see this, if this right here was my golf ball, I would measure out from toe to heel length 3 club heads. So I would go 1, 2, 3, and that's where I'm going to place that golf ball behind it, literally right on the target line here. So this would be right in here. So this would be 1, 2, 3, right in here. So I've got that in my way. Now, the next piece that we're going to do is we are going to put the trail leg in a position anatomically to where it cannot fire forward this way. So what we're going to do is I'm going to have you take your setup. Most likely it's going to be closer to the golf ball. So we're going to take our standard setup right in here, and I'm going to have you go 1 step back, 1 step in, and we're actually going to angle the trail foot almost parallel to what our target line is. Because now from here, if I pressurize this foot, my knee is actually going to go more towards you. And if this tries to work in, this is the furthest that it can work in, which means that's the furthest the hip will be able to move forward. This would be the furthest I could get the hip to move forward. So now I actually have a runway for my arms to work down here where the golf ball is, so I can actually start to accelerate the arms now at a higher rate than what the hands do. And what I mean by that, this right here, this would be accelerating the hands and the grip at a higher rate than if I was here and I was accelerating the arms at a higher rate than the hands and the club head are releasing. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in here, we're going to go into our setup, we're going to go 1 step back, 1 step in, angle the foot here. Here is our obstacle. So we might even start with just half ones, just working this back and feel impact. So we can see how the hip is staying back more. Now the arms have the ability to start to accelerate here. So now we're going to go ahead and give it a go with a half one here. And you can see how my pelvis has stayed more here. And if you look at the actual posture that I'm in, I'm still in my actual spine inclination that I set here at setup. So again, we'll go here. And here's the thing, some of you might find this a little bit difficult. So one of the other ways that we could actually do this, once we pull the right foot back and in, is take the club right in here, keep the hands where they start, and preset this angle over this golf ball here. And what we'll do is we'll work that. We're going to maintain that angle. I'm not saying that you have to crazily increase that angle. We're going to set this angle right here, work it back, keep the right leg, right hip back. Then we're going to go hit. So we'll do one like this. I preset that angle, work it back, and then I'll go hit right there. And that to me was an absolutely perfect strike right there. And now it's giving me the ability to actually feel what it's like to not have the hip move forward here. And my arms actually have an open runway to work to the golf ball, where they now have the ability to work at a higher rate than what the hands do. So I'm going to show you this drill from right in here one more time, what it would look like when we preset that. So there's the golf ball there. So I'm in here, 1 step back, 1 step in, so you can see the direction that I've placed my foot. So I'm in here, the hands are going to stay here, set the club head over the golf ball behind, work it back, and work it back down. So this would be a way that we can look at this from a cause and effect as well as ways that we can work on minimizing some of that early release that we have that's affecting our compression, the height of our shot, and all the above. So if you guys have any questions whatsoever on this video here for me, please leave those in the comments down below. I appreciate your support. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.